I had the most incredible Vietnamese duck noodle soup at an eatery recently, and I'm going to try and adapt it, make it a little of my own. So the first thing we need to do is make a gorgeous fragrant stock. So into a stock pot, I just have some water. Into that, I'll add some coconut water. This is the secret ingredient. So in with about a litre of coconut water. To this, we want to inject it with lots of flavour. So I'm going to add 2 chicken stock pots. These are preservative-free, they have no MSG, and you don't need to season it too much because all of the chicken flavour is going to come from the stock pot. So I'm going to use 2 for this, and we'll just dissolve it in the water. Just grab a little spoon, and we'll add that. 1 and 2. And just grab a whisk or a spoon and just dissolve that in the water, and that's our base stock. Now this particular Vietnamese broth had loads of other flavours, including mushrooms. So these are shiitake mushrooms, just dried shiitake mushrooms. I've rehydrated them in some water, so I'm going to not only add the shiitake mushrooms, but some of the water. This is like a little mushroom stock. It's also going to give us a lovely depth of flavour. So I'm going to add just some of that water, about 1/4 cup or so. To that, some garlic. I'm going to add a whole head of garlic. Just going to cut that in half, straight down the centre. Look how pretty that is. Into the pot. To that, some French shallots, so just 3 or 4. And I have 1 piece of ginger. I'm going to roughly chop the ginger. It looks like a lot of ginger, but we want to taste it in there. So at least a 4 centimetre piece of ginger. Some star anise, just 2. Some goji berries and some sugar. I'm just using some palm sugar. I'm just going to use my knife just to break it up so it dissolves faster in the broth. And usually you would add this at the end, but because I've already got the base of my stock, I can add this all together. So it's kind of like a cheat stock. In with that. For a few extra flavours, just a splash of soy sauce. I'm using light soy sauce. It's also going to give it a really nice golden colour, and some dark soy sauce. Now, while that's bubbling away, let's get onto the duck. I've got 4 duck legs, and I want to inject it also with loads of flavour. So in a bowl, I'll add some Chinese 5-spice and a few sauces like fish sauce, small splash, and some oyster sauce. So a few tablespoons of that into the bowl. I'll just grab a brush, mix that together, and I'm just going to lightly brush this sauce all over the duck. So just on that skin there. I'll brush the duck legs on both sides with that sauce. These then go into the oven, 190 degrees, for about an hour. The duck has come out of the oven. Look how blistered and delicious it looks. The broth, it's cooked down, it smells fantastic. So let's bring this whole thing together. I've got some rapidly boiling water here, and I'm going to add the noodles, just some egg noodles, nice fresh ones. We'll pop that into the water. That won't take long at all to cook because they're fresh. I'm also going to add some bok choy, so just 2 small bok choy, and I'm going to blanch that in the water at the same time as the noodles. And they're only going to take a moment to cook. Just separate the noodles. And usually this recipe, you would take this duck, place it into the broth and continue cooking. But because there's so much flavour in that stock, I'm cheating and not adding it. I also want to keep that lovely skin intact. All right, let's get these noodles out. Nice, generous amount in a bowl. It's okay if some of the water goes in. The bok choy can come out. I want them not to be too overcooked. Don't forget, as soon as I pour that broth over it, it's going to continue cooking the vegetables and the noodles. So just blanching them very quickly. Now for our fragrant broth. A few ladlefuls straight over the top. Oh, comfort food at its best right here. I love these mushrooms. I just love shiitake. It's flavoured the broth, and I just love to eat them whole too. So we'll just add 1 and 2. I'll grab one of these duck legs and just rest that on top. And to that, a quick garnish of coriander, a few sprigs on one side, and some crispy fried shallots. That right there is a serious soup. Loads of flavour, duck, noodles, bok choy, and a fragrant broth. I love this on a cold winter's day.